and the destination my car suggested at 2:02 a.m. At 2:02 a.m., my car tried to be helpful. The screen woke in the dark garage like a fish turning in a tank, and a polite banner slid across the glass. Traffic is light to the Bellwether. 17 min. I wasn't in the car. I was in bed, staring at the ceiling and trying to ignore the absence of Sloane beside me. The Bellwether was not our place. Our place was the diner with the mean coffee and the kind waitress who calls everyone sweetheart, like she means it. The Bellwether had velvet chairs and water with opinions. I'd been there twice. Once for a work thing where I wore a jacket that belonged to a more patient man. Once for a charity gala where Sloane looked like a first draft of fame, and I trailed her like punctuation. I padded down the hall and into the kitchen, where the car's app had taken it upon itself to send me notifications because technology thinks it's intimacy. I stared at the alert the way you look at a word you've spelled correctly but swear is wrong. To the Bellwether. The map pin blinked with confidence. Sloane had texted around midnight. Running late. Post-mortem with the team. Don't wait up. She runs a small creative agency that survives on deadlines and charm. Post-mortems make you sound serious when you're really just decompressing and admitting you almost drowned. I'd stopped waiting up months ago, but apparently my body hadn't gotten the memo. At 2:17, the garage camera pinged, motion detected. Our Honda, smart enough to tattle, not smart enough to know when to shut up, unlocked and locked again, a small domestic wink. The app offered a timeline like a recipe card. 2:18 car started, 2:19 destination suggested, 2:38 car turned off, 2:55 car started, 3:14 car back in the garage. The night folded itself neatly. People don't. I slept badly. Every time I closed my eyes, the map pin pulsed and the blue route traced itself like a vein. Sloane came in at 7:40 with the morning on her shoulders and lipstick smudged in a way that could have been a meeting or a kiss or nothing at all. She was pretty the way a knife is pretty, useful, exact. She changed out of the black dress she keeps in her office for emergencies and into one of my t-shirts, the one that says River City Marathon even though I only ran the half. She kissed me on the temple. "Sorry for the ghosting," she said. "We were celebrating not failing." "At the Bellwether?" I asked, and tried to say it like trivia. She blinked, long and careful, like a cat considering a glass it's about to knock over. "We stopped by," she said. "They comped the room for 2 hours because they want our campaign next quarter." "The room?" "The lounge," she said quickly. "The little back room with the good plants. Theo, don't do your face like that." "This is my face," I said, which was less funny than I wanted. She opened the fridge, took out an orange and pressed it to her cheek like it might lower a fever. "I'm late. Can we be normal tonight?" "Define normal," I said. She smiled, the small one she uses to prevent a conversation from starting. Then she left, and the apartment exhaled. I'm a systems analyst, which is a glamorous way to say I'm paid to notice when a pattern pretends to be a coincidence. On my lunch break, I drove to the Bellwether and parked across the street under a skeletal tree. The lobby smelled like lime and money. The concierge looked at me with professional kindness, the kind that survives all seasons. "Welcome back, Mr. Hale," she said, "because the car app knows your name and so does the world eventually." "Was there a post-mortem here last night?" I asked. "Small agency, loud laugh, a woman who wears a key on a chain and says, 'Let me try something,' a lot." Her mouth twitched. "The Ray Agency had a reservation in the lounge from 11 to 1, she said. "Ms. Ray signed for sparkling water like it was a debt." "And after?" "After," she said, lowering her voice the way people do when they want to make you feel lucky. Ms. Ray booked room 814 for an hour because the elevator was misbehaving and because a client was in crisis. She met my eyes and let the word client sit there like a prop. People need quiet places to talk. Did the client have a navy coat? I asked, because I am petty when I'm scared. Does he curate rooms and people? Everyone in Navy curates something, she said, but this was not that. It was a woman with a blunt haircut and a way of saying no that you can hear through walls. She slid a card across the counter, the Bellwether embossed. On the back a name, Anna. If you have more questions, ask the woman who knows every plant in the lounge by name. I found Anna accosting a fiddle-leaf fig with a mister. She had a scar on her wrist shaped like a healed bite and the posture of someone who doesn't drop trays or secrets. "You're Sloane's Thea," she said without hello. "Is that obvious?" "She mentioned you when the fire alarm didn't sound," Anna said, then arched a brow at my confusion. Figuratively, she was agitated, not romantic. She turned the mister on the plant like a benediction. "She ran into an old friend here," she added. "A man with a calendar where his heart should be. He wanted to revisit a room they had already burned down together. She said no, and then she said the kind of no that closes a door at the hinge." I felt the map inside me redraw itself. Why book the room? Anna smiled, not unkindly. "Because sometimes you need a door to close so the no can echo louder." I left with relief burning a hole where my doubt had been. Then the hole grew teeth. If my car knew the destination in advance, someone had typed it. If Sloane had booked the room to say no, she had still booked it. The world is rarely tidy enough to pre-forgive. Back at my desk, an email arrived from an address I didn't know. "If you're going to interrogate the night, do it kindly. Meet me at 4:30 at the public library, 3rd floor, periodicals. Bring your questions." The M felt like a stage direction. I almost ignored it. My thumb disobeyed. The library was full of people pretending not to spy on each other's lives. 3rd floor, periodicals. A woman with a red scarf leaned over a stack of journals like surprise was an article she couldn't put down. She glanced up and smiled like we were old friends and I'd finally arrived on time. "Theo," she said. "Good." "You're—" "Mara," she said. "A friend of Anna's and an enemy of spectacle. Sit." She had the kind of face that convinces people to confess their borrowings and their intentions in the same breath. I told her about the car's suggestion at 2:02, the concierge, the room, the way Sloane had held the orange to her face like penance. I told her things I hadn't told myself yet, which is how certain people win. "Do you prefer to be right or to be married?" she asked, flipping a magazine shut. "Is there a bundle discount?" I said. "Not this quarter," she said dryly. "Sloane booked the room," she continued, "because she wanted to say a private thing privately. She did not want to be noble in front of an audience. Nobility is a performance art. She wanted to be specific. She told a man, no more exhibitions, and then she left. She spent another 20 minutes in the lounge with Anna talking about tomatoes. Tomatoes. "Sometimes you cleanse a room by nomming ordinary things," Mara said. "Here. What you need to decide. Do you want to punish the approximation or reward the precision? She could have not told you anything at all. She told you half. Invite the other half." "How?" "Don't wave the map pin like a badge," she said. "Show her where the tender place is and ask her to press it herself." I went home unheroic and ready to try an easier bravery. When Sloane arrived, she paused in the doorway the way actors do when they want to see if the room loves them. I took her bag, set it down, and said, "I know about the room. I also know about your no." She stood still. The orange was not in her hand now. Did the plants talk? She asked, eyes bright and dangerous. They had a publicist, I said. I didn't ask for a quote, I asked for a fact. You said no. You closed a door. I want the rest from you. She came closer, not touching me, hands in her pockets like it would be unfair to let them vote. I thought if I booked the room and you saw the charge, I could say it cleanly, she said. I thought if I told you I'd done something dangerous in the safest possible way, I would be brave and you would be gentle. Then I chickened out because I wanted us to have one more normal morning. That's small and selfish. I am sorry. Who is he? I asked because liturgy helps. Luca, she said. We worked together 2 years ago. He is persuasive about other people's lines. He has a gift for making you feel like your compromise is noble. And I was tired of being competent, she said. I wanted to be admired by a bad idea. We kissed twice in May. Then I told him I wanted what we had already built, and he said, she stopped and shook her head. A laugh that wasn't humor escaped. He said, that's adorable. So I blocked his number. Yesterday he showed up at the lounge as if rooms can fix what stubbornness breaks. And you? I booked the room to say no loud enough that the walls would remember, she said. And because, Theo, I'm not pure. I wanted to be tempted and not fail. I wanted the data of it, the record in a computer that says, she chose us in a place designed for other choices. It's pathetic. It's mine. We stood in the kitchen like two people waiting for a weather report. Then I did the thing Mara had told me to do and my pride had resisted. I showed her the tender place. The car suggested the hotel at 202, I said. Not because it's smart, because it's eager. It felt like being pre-replaced. That's the part that hurt. The presumption. Not your no, the algorithm's yes. She stepped into me and put both hands on my face like it was a photograph she had paid for. I chose you, she said, soft and certain. In the car and in the room, and at the godforsaken desk when I typed the hotel's name wrong the first time and corrected it. I wanted to be seen doing it, even if only by a stupid screen. Okay, I said, because sometimes the good answer is also the humble one. Then let's be seen. We didn't go to bed like a solution. Solutions are for spreadsheets. We went because our bodies had a vote and because I wanted to write a new sentence on a different surface. In the bedroom, Sloane stood and lifted the hem of my shirt, the cotton rasping softly over my skin. She didn't hurry. She looked at me as if she were asking whether the light was good. It was. The erotic part was not theatrical. It was precise. She put my hand on her hip and pushed until the grip was the weight she wanted. I kissed the place at the curve of her shoulder where she keeps the habit of softness. She said my name once, like a door opening, and then again, like gratitude. We were clumsy with a sock and laughed, which is the kind of intimacy that survives everything. We asked each other small yes-no questions with our mouths and answered with breath. Heat built the way a tide builds when it trusts the moon, deliberately, then all at once. When we came undone, it felt less like victory and more like consent written in longhand. After, we lay with our calves tangled and our foreheads touching, as if proximity could count as bravery. Sloane drew a circle on my sternum with one finger. I don't want to keep inventing exams I can pass, she said. I want to stop visiting rooms to prove I know how to leave them. Then we change rooms, I said, or we make this one unboring on purpose. We made rules, but we smiled while writing them so they wouldn't turn into punishments. 1. No secret reservations. If a door needs to be shut, we decide how and when together. 2. If a ghost shows up in velvet and says our names like he built them, we do not pretend it's poetry. 3. Novelty is a chore we share. On my weeks, I pick the wrong hour for the right thing. On hers, she rearranges the room until the light learns a new path. 4. When the car suggests a destination at 2. 2:02 a.m., we get in together and drive somewhere neither of us has been. A week later, the car helpfully suggested the Bellwether again. We ignored it and drove past the river to an all-night bowling alley that smelled like childhood and Lysol. Sloane bowled badly and laughed loudly, and kissed me in the dark arcade between the claw machine and the air hockey table, because nobody in a place like that thinks they're being watched by a kind of love that brings its own light. On the way home, she put her feet on the dashboard like a teenager in a movie that ends well and said, "Thank you for not making a speech." "I'll save it for my award," I said. "Speech or award?" "Both," I said, "for best performance in a role where the character does not demand applause for being decent." She laughed so hard she had to wipe her eyes at a red light. Months folded. The Bellwether became another building with windows that reflect the weather instead of us. Sometimes the map still thinks it knows where we want to go. Sometimes at 2:02 the screen offers the quickest route to a place we've already chosen not to be. We play along. "Traffic is light to the kitchen floor," I say, and she brings a blanket. "Traffic is light to the bathtub," she says, and I pour wine. "Traffic is light to each other," we say, and do not ask for directions. We are not pure. We are answerable and occasionally ridiculous and often brave. When the world suggests a destination we didn't choose, we press our foreheads together in the dark and reroute. When morning comes, we drink terrible diner coffee and let the waitress call us sweetheart. And I watch Sloane stir her cup with the same care she gives to big decisions, and I think, if this is the route the car didn't offer, I'll take it. Every night that wants to be a map, I'll take it. With her hand on the wheel and mine over hers, inventing the rest of the way.